It's Monday, March the 25th, 2013 at Vincent Corporation in Tampa, Florida. Today we're going to be running a sample that we received from Mick Turillo, and it's a sample that is described as liquid wheat, but it's from a distillery. These two pails, when we received them, were full. Each 5-gallon pail was full. But what we've done is we've run those over a piece of screen that we had, which you can see there. The screen has 10,000 slot width openings. And what we got from the two pails is this much liquid through that screen. It's a relatively tight screen. We probably could have gotten more liquid with a larger opening on the screen, but this captures the majority of the solids. That's certainly important today because we're already going to be struggling to have enough material to fill up the press we're going to be using, which is this little CP4. As is typical with the Vincent machines, you have a motor and a gearbox driving the screw, which you should be able to see turning there between the motor and the gearbox. The wet material goes into this inlet hopper. The liquid comes out through the screen, drains into the drain pan, and goes out that drain in the back. The solids are forced out past this cone. This cone has pressure on it that's provided by the air cylinder and the lever arm. Every machine comes with a filter regulator lubricator. In this case, this one's set to 20 psi, and a valve to open and close the cone, or to push in and retract the lever arm. So right now we have it pushed in at 20 psi. So the next step is to start feeding the liquid in, see what we get. Now, if we feed in everything that we have, and we have not produced any press cake yet, what we're going to do is put in a dry material behind it that has no liquid, and we'll push out the press cake that's accumulated inside the machine. That way it'll give us a sample that we can grab for testing. We also, we've got a container here to catch solids, and one there for pressed liquor. You can see it going in there, out of the back drain. Here you see the liquid coming through the screen. That looks good. You will always get some leakage past the cone at the very, very beginning until there's enough solids built up there to plug that area. The cone seal's pretty tight, but it is not, obviously not watertight. Solids towards the end. You can see them there. You always get a little bit extruding through the screen. You can see some solids just starting to form around the opening of the cone. That's good. While this press, air cylinder, etc., can take way more than 20 psi, we limit the pressure we put on this small machine so that when we go to a larger machine, we can replicate the results. If we ran this up to 80 or 90 psi, chances are if we went to a 6 or a 12-inch machine or larger, we would never be able to duplicate the results. It has to do with migration distance. The furthest that any little drop of water has to travel in this screw press is less than in any other press. container so we can catch some solids and some liquor. Passing it off to Pat. He has two hands. We'll be collecting a sample of this for our lab oven as well. Well, it turns out that we had plenty of material. This feels incredibly dry. It's fluffy. I can squeeze it, no sign of any additional liquid coming out. It does retain its shape, but very delicately. It breaks back apart extremely easily. I'll hold this here, get a little bit more. Pat's putting additional liquid in, the last bit. Looking good. We are getting solids through the screen, that's to be expected. But remember, with a 10,000 slot width screen for pre-thickening, we didn't get rid of much of the small solids. In other words, they're in there, and some of them are going to want to find their way out through the screen. Yep, we'll try to get a full one of these. Mostly liquid left in there. So I'd say this is a very successful test. We'll get the numbers for you and let you know the results. Also send back samples.